I recently won this Hot Wheels Rocket by Baby Redline casting in a whatnot auction. The 1971 castings of this had spectraflame paint, and this is a 1973 Shell promo version. And those of you who were around then remember all the promo stuff that Shell would do. It always made it fun going to the gas station with my parents. But anyhow, this one has enamel light blue paint on it, as you see here. Metal body, metal base. One of the posts is that engine itself, the rocket engine. And I decided, since it was one of the Shell promos, I didn't want to do it in spectraflame style paint that I usually use metal cast to do. But I decided I wanted to keep it roughly the same color, but make it a little more interesting. Oh, there you see how the interior had already broken. That's a really simple fix that we'll get to later. The glass was in good shape on this, which when I'm bidding on auctions for castings like this, that's really one of the main things I look at. It's like, is the glass okay? I'm not even sure you can get replacement glass for this casting other than finding a similar casting that has good glass and using it. But I'm not sure I've seen that glass available recently, if at all. So I was happy that this had good glass on it. Now the red lines that are on here, I end up cutting these off. They're actually molded onto the axle. It's not like they're cap style or bearing style. These are the ones that the axle goes all the way through, and the wheel's just molded onto that axle. So you have to cut these off. And I'm not sure why, but a lot of these, when I do these, there's a lot of small fights that go on. And this is like one of them, cutting these wheels off. Because I'm trying to be exceptionally careful not to damage that base. I don't want to nick it or scratch it somehow. And maybe I'm being too cautious. I also want to keep that axle intact as much as possible because I do not replace that. I end up using the hot swap bearings on this. And you'll see that later when we get to that part. But yeah, it's a matter of just cutting them off, which isn't terrible. That delay there, I had to go fetch a piece that shot off when I was cutting it. Yeah, that tends to happen at times. There's stuff flying in all kinds of directions. But I get this one off, and I think I only show you this one in the video, if I remember right. I edited this video earlier today, and for whatever reason, I'm kind of dragging today. And so I can't remember what I edited in and edited out. And who knows? We'll find out when we both get there. So cut this off. And, having the small wire nippers, the two different styles there, just comes in really handy. I've had these nippers forever. I mean, God, these nippers are probably, if I had to guess, about 45 years old. I think I had them in my teens, if I remember right. And, I picked them up at Radio Shack forever ago when I used to do electronic stuff and had them ever since. So, get the wheels off. The axles are in good shape. The whole casting was really in good shape. It has that exceptionally short little front post that does present a problem. The other post that's on the engine itself is easy. It's obviously a huge post because it goes all the way through the casting. I do end up using 172 screws on this. There's the 172 tap after I drilled it using a 172 size bit for this drill, drilling the post. And there, finally, we're at the 172 screw. Those screws are so darn tiny. But anyhow, it goes into that front post just fine. Then it was time to just clean up the casting a little bit. And this was a played with casting, as you saw in the opening photos of it. It wasn't in terrible shape, but it obviously had been played up. And the paint was all chipped off around the edges. And somewhat necessarily, some damage was incurred along with some of those chips. So just go over it with a file, clean it up a little bit, make it look a little bit more respectable. I try to be careful not to remove too much. It's kind of a balancing act. You want to remove whatever damage, or at least I want to remove whatever damage I thought was there. But on these kinds of restorations, I try to keep like most of the original casting lines if they're there. I usually do that. There's some cases where they're just obscene, and so they have to go. They're exceptionally bad casting lines sometimes. And if I think it's more than an average, using my own judgment, then I'll file them down more if I think they're going to really detract from the finished car. But by and large, I try not to get too carried away. Had to bust out this vise to hold the engine because it's such an odd shape and it's difficult to drill when you're holding it because of the size of it. And it's nice being able to move the pins around on this vise. In this case, I just moved the pins around so only 3 points were holding that engine. When I tried to use 4, it kept wobbling over. So using the 3 points actually held it better than 4. And once that was through being drilled, tapped it through the 172 screw. Okay, well, after a little bumbling and fumbling, I tried to throw the 172 screw into that post. And sure enough, it goes in just fine. And there you have it. Time for yes, gauzy, gauzy, gauzy. The glass, again, was in good shape. It was interesting that it had, like, some dye swirls, some color swirls in it from when it was originally made. And I'm not sure if you can actually see them in the video at any point. When you're holding that glass separately in person, you do. It's not really detracting. It was just kind of interesting. I did just, wash the glass and polished it very lightly before going into the gauzy here. Because it's the kind of glass that you really hope for when you get a casting like this. One that really has no flaws on it. You can't ask for much more than that. And just wick off the excess gauzy. Put it in the little protective thing here so it doesn't get any flying lint or ash or anything like that. For an update on the fires here, we are great. And the fires are, I believe now, over 75% contained. Here I'm just gluing that piece that broke off that interior section back on. Naturally after washing these pieces. But just another brief note on the fire. I mentioned it, I think, in the live stream, if I remember right. And so, everything's good. We're doing well. I mean, it is absolutely no threat here at all. So that's good. The glass I install off camera, there you see it after it's been all gauzied up and dried, because I had to really get on it to see what I was doing. Basically, there's a little lip that clips in under the front, and then you press that back edge into place. The Bright Vision hot swap bearings. Yes, indeed. For this, they're perfect. You can't ask for an easier way to throw red lines on something when it has great axles with the ends on the axles to hold the hot swap bearings in place. I will install these off camera as well because you don't want to watch me bumble and fumble around for 20 minutes until I figure out the best way to do it. And it seems like every time I do it, it's a different way and it's still the best way. Basically, I just have to get it on that axle, on the side of the axle, and then press it on, snap it on into place. And it's... maybe if I had smaller fingers, it'd be easier. I wonder if maybe bigger fingers. I don't know. All I know is my fingers are the wrong size for doing this easily. But once you have those bearings on, you can throw bearing-style wheels on there, and I installed basically deep dish red lines, so they're a little different than the original, but they're the exact same size as the original on this. And then I just use some needle nose pliers to press those bearings all the way into the wheel. That just works best for me. It was nice because the axles are able to slide back and forth on that body. They weren't crimped down so tight that they wouldn't move at all, which helped me do this kind of thing. Having that play in that, usually it seems like a lot of the times they're just really jammed in there and they won't move. I find if they do, it just gives me a little extra ease in installing those bearing style wheels. So there you have it. Now it's just time to put it together. And make sure I have that lined up. The best post being the back post to hold that in place. I did have some problems with the front post, getting it to pull up and act properly. But as you can see, it's together and rolls like a champ. There you see where we started. I mean, it's not in bad shape. There's a lot of people that, if you collect red lines, you'd be thrilled to have it in that condition in your collection. But, this is me. I just can't leave things well enough alone. It was chipped up too much. So, again, I wanted to stay roughly the same color. So there you see it, but it's metallic now. That was how I wanted to jazz it up. That's Tester's Extreme Lacquer, and the color is Icy Blue. And then the clear over it is actually the Color Shot Gloss Clear. I did also, you may notice the engine and the base, those I polished up with flits. Didn't go too crazy. And I did clear coat those as well. Because I wanted it to keep this look. I didn't want this to, get ugly in like a year. So it should hold that look, I hope. So there you have it. I hope you like how this turned out. It's a fairly straightforward build, but I love having this little car all nice and looking pretty again. Everybody, thanks for watching these videos. Stay safe and healthy out there. I'll catch you in the next one.